Welcome everyone. Today is Tuesday and this is the Music News Power Hour. Headlines of the day brought to you by the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. We're going to be starting our show here shortly with breaking news from around the globe that pertains to the music industry. You can use the plus sign at the bottom of the room to ping friends in, or use the hand raise icon at the bottom of the room to chime in and join the discussion as we read our headlines. If you're joining us on our video stream chat, hello and welcome. You can chime in the chat with your questions and comments. And if you're listening and would like to join us on our video chat, please visit our website where you can join us on stream. You can follow along with our headlines or register for free. Our website is musicindustrycity.com. I want to take just a moment and say hello, Angela, our UK correspondent. It's great to see you back after the holiday weekend. How are you?
I'm great, thanks, Eli. Good to see you too.
Great to be back, everybody, and welcome back after the 4th of July holiday. We will be beginning our countdown momentarily. Welcome to the news.
It's Tuesday, the 6th of July, and this is the Music News Power Hour on the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. I'm Peter Schwing, and please join me in welcoming my co-host Eli Window and UK correspondent Angela Randall.
Hi, Peter. It's great to be here, and hello, Angela. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
What's going on? All right, in today's news, Sony and Roblox ink a partnership. Riot Games launches a royalty-free album. A tribe called Quest says they didn't authorize an NFT. UK Prime Minister says July 19th is a go. And so many updates, like Daft Punk said, all around the world. As always, our daily Spotify update. These stories coming up. But first, let's take a look at this day in music history with Eli Window. Eli.
All right, thanks, Peter. Let's take a look at this day in music history. On this date, July 6th, 1971, we lost American jazz trumpeter, singer, and band leader Louis Armstrong in memory. On this date, 1979, American singer, producer, songwriter Van McCoy died from a heart attack in Englewood, New Jersey. Van McCoy and the Soul City had the U.S. #1 single, The Hustle, in memory. Also in memory, from this date 2003, we lost Skip Abatten, bassist and songwriter of the Byrds, who died of complications from Alzheimer's disease. And on this date last year, we lost American singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist Charlie Daniels, best known for The Devil Went Down to Georgia. He died aged 83 of a stroke, in memory. Moving on, birthdays today. Born this date 1925, singer, guitarist Bill Haley, the first rock and roll star. Born on this date, 1963, Tim Burkeno, guitar of All About Eve. And born this date, 1969, Michael Grant, musical youth, best remembered for their successful 1982 single, Pass the Dutchie. Happy birthday today from 1975, born Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent. And happy birthday today, UK singer-songwriter Kate Nash, born on this date, 1987. Moving on, this day in music history. On July 6, 2003, the Dixie Chicks performed a concert at Dallas's American Airlines Center, despite an anonymous threat that group member Natalie Maines would be shot on stage. This was after the controversy regarding her comments about President George W. Bush and the Iraq War. Maines had a police escort to and from the show, and then directly to the airport. On this date, 2007, Avril Lavigne was facing legal action by members of the 1970s rock band the Rubinos, who claimed she had copied one of their songs. Songwriters Tommy Dunbar and James Gangwer alleged that Lavigne's hit Girlfriend was lifted from their 1979 song, I Want to Be Your Boyfriend. And on this date, 2012, Carol Hawkins, the former personal assistant of U2 bassist Adam Clayton, was jailed for 7 years for embezzling 2.8 million euros, that's about 2.2 million pounds, of his money to fund a lavish lifestyle. Hawkins was convicted on 181 counts of theft from the base's bank account over a 4-year period. The judge said Hawkins' crimes were rooted in greed and nothing else, according to a quote. And that's it for On This Day in Music History. Back over to you, Peter.
All right, thanks for that, Eli. Yeah, I remember the Dicks. It was like then there was the banning, the blackout on the radios, and it was just that whole time. And it's an amazing story. And then they won a Grammy the following year. So I don't know if that was a little gift to them, saying like, no, we support you. So, but
does that throw back to there's no such thing as bad press? I'm not sure, but we've just kept hearing from the Dixie Chicks ever since, and thankfully everyone was safe after that incident.
Yes, thanks. All right. Normally I just run right into my script here. I want to make an announcement so everybody can check this out. We're starting something new on musicindustrycity.com. So for our residents, that means if you're registered, which you can do for free at musicindustrycity.com, and you can find it in the show notes, there is another graphic that says you can go and join the chat. So we have this group. So on Music Industry City, once you register, you can join the group. It's called the Newsroom, and there's a chat function in there. So it's just like posting, like, kind of like on Facebook or whatever. And you can go there. So if you click on the link, you can go to this chat area. So if you're in the audience and you might not want to come up to the screen, or you can chat with each other and talk about and make comments amongst yourselves. So if you go to musicindustrycity.com, and you'll be able to see all that information and also the videos there. So the live stream of the video. So if you want to also check us out, or if you don't have to look at us, you can just listen in Clubhouse and join the conversation. So you say it's join the Music News live chat is the graphic, and if you register, you can go join. So say hi, and we're going to test it out. It's in beta right now, but it's a neat little function we're rolling out because people are saying, hey, I'd love to just be able to say something. I don't need to come up on stage, but, I have some thoughts, and we can say hi to you in the chat as well. So go check it out. Let us know how it goes. And with that being said, let's get to all this. This is where we summarize the most essential of news in the fast-paced music industry. I'd also like to thank everybody that is tuning in on our live stream and saying hi on the video live stream there. And if you want to join us in the chat, you got us in the video live stream as well. To set the stage for the roundtable conversation, we begin by reading key sections of media pieces. If you'd like to provide commentary on one of today's topics, request to join the stage and during the reads. To stay up to date on this and other programming, you can register for free at musicindustrycity.com to obtain access to exclusive content, like access to a chat function during our shows. So with that being said, let's get to it. Right, and this first one is from Music Business Worldwide. And to access all the articles mentioned in today's show and throughout the week, visit musicindustrycity.com and click on the show notes graphics. All right, Sony Music Entertainment Inc.'s strategic partnership with Roblox. Roblox, which went public in March with a $45 billion company valuation, has been making waves in the music industry again in recent months. In January, the kids' gaming success received an 8-figure investment from Warner Music Group as part of a $520 million Series H financing round, and it has also functioned as a large-scale virtual concert venue for famous singers such as Lil Nas X and Sarah Larson. Now, the company has signed a strategic partnership with Sony Music Entertainment, whose average daily active user increased to 43 million in May. This new agreement comes just 2 weeks after Roblox signed a licensing agreement with BMG, but also a month after it was faced with the $200 million plus copyright infringement lawsuit from music publishers in the United States. According to the agreement announced on July 6th with Sony, Roblox and Sony Music will collaborate to create, quote, innovative music experiences for the Roblox community. According to the firms, these prospects will, quote, offer a range of new commercial opportunities for Sony Music artists to reach new audiences and generate new revenue streams around virtual entertainment. The partnerships expands on the two firms' current connection, which includes prior collaborations such as Lil Nas X's blockbuster virtual performance on Roblox in November of 2020, and most recently, the Zara Larson launch party on Roblox in May of 2021. Over 36 million people tuned in to see Lil Nas X perform the first ever live virtual concert on Roblox, which featured the release of his single Holiday. The event venue also featured virtual item sales, mini games, a scavenger hunt, an exclusive behind-the-scenes interview, and other interactive activities. Meanwhile, Zara Larsson's launch party had over 4 million visits, the most ever recorded for a Roblox launch party. Sticking in with the games topic, Riot Games launches royalty-free album for streamers. Riot Games, the creators of League of Legends, published an album filled with lo-fi sounds on Friday, allowing gamers to stream their games while listening to music that does not infringe on copyright regulations. Sessions 6 is a collection of 37 ambient sounds created in collaboration with artists such as Chromanichi and Junior State. It is available on major streaming services such as Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, and the album's release is in reaction to growing dissatisfaction among gamers who wish to broadcast their gameplay but can be kicked off platforms like Twitch for copyright infringement if the games contain copyrighted material. A new Guardians of the Galaxy game, for example, set to be launched later this year, will include a soundtrack featuring songs by Iron Maiden, Kiss, Wham, Blondie, and others. To comply with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the game's developer Eidos Montreal has devised a toggle switch that will allow gamers to turn off the soundtrack when live broadcasting, according to VentureBeat. After mostly ignoring streaming sites for years, the music business suddenly pounced on Twitch, which is owned by Amazon, this spring, and began sending users thousands of DMCA takedown notices for copyright violations. Twitch replied by informing users that they could no longer utilize copyrighted content and that the existing posts that breached the rules had to be removed. Earlier this month, a number of music publishers, including those representing Ed Sheeran and Ariana Grande, sued Roblox for copyright infringement, alleging that the confirm had not licensed the music featured in many of its creators' games. Yeah, this is something, and I promise I won't get into my whole Twitch thing. I see Eli's laughing in the back there. And that, Monster Cat's been doing this. There's so many of these other platforms that are just whitelisting and distributors like DistroKid. So as an artist, I can say whitelisted. I want people playing my music on Twitch. Let it happen. Get it out there. Don't give them a strike. Even to a YouTuber and Twitch streamer, because of this, that was starting last year. This all started, the takedown notices began last summer and really rolled into the fall with the pickup. But one of the streamers, he went out and hired somebody, some producers on Fiverr, paid them to produce hundreds and hundreds of songs that he owns, and he puts them up on Spotify, and he tells all his fans. I mean, he's got like 50, 60, 80,000 followers on Twitch, and it's like hundreds of thousands on YouTube. And he just told them, go for it. Play all my music. You can use it for free. It's on Spotify. Guess what? He gets hundreds of thousands and more of plays on Spotify, so he makes royalties off of that. Let him have it. That's what this model and these streamers are looking for. But where is the money flow? I mean, it is important that, with the NMPA and RIAA going after Twitch to make sure that the creators, the music creators, are getting properly compensated. So it's a tale, I believe, of two economies and tale of two different music industries. With that being said, let's move over to new California budget includes $150 million for independent music venues. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed the state's 2021-22 budget, which includes $150 million for independent venues and promoters, into law on June 28th. The California Venues Grant Program will be administered by California's Office on the Small Business Advocate, which will assist in the distribution of funding to eligible venues. Funding for minor league sports, which stakeholders have been advised solely currently involves minor league baseball, has been inexplicably combined into the California Venues Grant Program. NEVA California, which believes that approximately 660 venues and promoters will be eligible for the funding, has been fighting for this budget allocation with the support of Sacramento lobbying company Strategies 360 since January. The SVOG was passed into law on December 27th, and the Small Business Administration has given only $1 billion of the $16 billion in financing more than 6 months later. Despite tight COVID closures in 2020, California Governor Gavin Newsom stated in May that the state had a $75 billion budget surplus, giving the Venue Coalition confidence to request financial help. The California initiative was championed by State Assembly member Laura Friedman, and on July 1st, the state Senate unanimously passed a trailer bill that established the award program specifics. The company must have lost at least 70% of its sales in 2020 as compared to comparable fiscal quarters in 2019, and the award is not available to publicly traded businesses or entities that are majority owned by a publicly traded corporation. This is it from Billboard, and there's a lot more information. If you are a venue owner or promoters like you fall in this category, go check it out. I'm sure you're following all of this that is going on. So this is good to see. That there is more rolling out, and there is more in that article that if you received one of the grants from the SBA, it offsets certain areas. So take a look deeper into that, and hopefully we can keep these venues afloat. Last week, we talked about it because everybody else talked about it. So they were saying that Tribe Called Quest was getting into the NFT game. And I remember, Angela, you were kind of disappointed in that. Well, I have good news for you, Angela. A Tribe Called Quest says they never authorized an NFT of their catalog. In an angry letter, a Tribe Called Quest DJ and producer, Ali Shahid Muhammad, reacted to news that the hip-hop group auctioned off a 1.5% recorded share of its first 5 albums as an NFT, taking aim at both Royalty Exchange and Billboard. The uproar surrounding the NFT sale seems to start last June 29th when Billboard published an item about a Royalty Exchange NFT auction for a 1.5% recorded share in a Tribe Called Quest's first 5 studio albums. According to Ali Shahid, firm Facebook post, quote, "This story originally indicated that a Tribe Called Quest had arranged to sell the IP in the 24-hour auction. Regarding the post-publication article revisions cited by them, the work now mentions that, quote, the share to be auctioned off is owned by a third party. A Tribe Called Quest was not involved in the deal." Furthermore, Muhammad's more than 500-word missive states that claims a Tribe Called Quest had sought to sell the stake are, quote, not friggin' true, as no member of the Grammy-nominated hip-hop act has, quote, entered into any partnership with Royalty Exchange. PPX added a clause to our agreement stating that they get paid a percentage of our recording fund every time we commence to record a new album. He continued, with the group's other members finding the hidden clause around the time they started recording 1991's The Low End Theory. According to the text, they then disputed the clause, which Chapman losing a case he launched against a Tribe Called Quest. But because their album was selling slowly and they were deeply in debt to our record company, quote, a Tribe Called Quest agreed to create another album for Jive in exchange for, quote, making the PPX issue disappear, or so we thought. According to the reports, PPX sold its portion of a settlement with Jive Records to an individual who formed a relationship with Royalty Exchange. Just to sum it up, make it clear that this is the NFT that was manufactured and auctioned off.
I knew it. I knew they wouldn't have gotten involved with an NFT. It just doesn't seem on brand. I'm glad that you followed up with this, Peter, because it was definitely keeping me up nights.
That comment from our resident NFT, what did we say, Angela Grinch? And yes, absolutely. And I know that for those of you on the video stream, you're probably seeing me crack up right about now because as soon as Angela chimed in and said, I knew it, I knew that Angela had an NFT Grinch comment for us. If you'd like to join us on the video stream chat, you absolutely can. And we want to take a moment and say hello to all of our viewers on the video stream chat. today. Thanks for joining us for today's Music Industry City broadcast of the Music News Power Hour. We're here with you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday at 12 Eastern. That is noon Eastern, where we bring you headlines from around the globe that pertain to the music industry. It's all the music news that you care to listen to and comment on. Use the hand raise icon at the bottom of the room to join the discussion, or use the plus icon at the bottom of the room to ping your friends into the room. And don't forget to tap the green house-shaped icon at the top of the room to join the club, and be sure to follow your moderators, the speakers on the stage with the green moderator icon. If you would like to join us on our video stream, you can do that. You can also follow along with all of today's headlines, and you can register for free to get updates. All of that and more at our website. That is musicindustrycity.com. And with that, we want to move on to our next headline. We see that the industry reacts after the Prime Minister confirms intention to enable full capacity events in the UK from the 19th of July moving forward. With more on this headline, let's go to our UK correspondent, Angela Randall. Angela?
Thanks, Eli. As expected, Prime Minister Boris Johnson has confirmed that for the first time in 16 months, full capacity events will be able to go ahead from the 19th of July in England. Speaking at a Downing Street press conference today, Johnson said, "We will remove all legal limits on the number of people meeting indoors and outdoors. We will allow businesses to reopen, including nightclubs, and we will lift the limit on the numbers of people attending concerts, theater, and sporting events. We will end the 1 meter plus rule on social distancing and the legal obligation to wear face covering," end quote. Among the first full capacity shows will be a 150th anniversary concert at London's 5,272 capacity Royal Albert Hall on July 19th. The Prime Minister said a final decision will be made on the 12th of July, but that intention is to remove these restrictions as planned 1 week later. He said the move follows data highlighting the greatly reduced mortality rates from COVID-19 as a result of the vaccine rollout, with the UK having the highest per capita vaccination rate in Europe, behind only Malta. We have to balance the risks of the disease, where the vaccines have reduced but not eliminated, and the risks of continuing with legally enforced restrictions that inevitably take their toll on people's lives, livelihoods, and on people's health and mental health, said Johnson. We must be honest with ourselves that if we can't reopen our society in the next few weeks, then we'll be helped by the arrival of summer and by the school holidays. When will we be able to return to normal? Test and trace will continue, but the government intends to replace isolation with daily testing. Businesses will be encouraged to display QR codes for customers to check in using NHS COVID-19 app to support NHS test and trace, although it'll no longer be a legal requirement. Johnson confirmed that from the 19th of July, there'll be no need to show COVID-19 status passports to gain entry to events. Government said organizations can choose to ask visitors for proof of COVID status as long as they meet existing legal obligations, including under equality law. The 19th of July reopening will not be reflected in Wales or Scotland. However, Wales National Health Minister Eluned Morgan has suggested an announcement could be forthcoming mid-next week. In an ideal world, we'd like to move together, but here we've been following in data, and we will continue to do that. It goes on to talk about some of the responses from festival operators, the Scottish response, and a few other noteworthy messages from folks who have been long awaiting this announcement. Of course, the government has published the COVID-19 response summer 2021 guidance document that sets out the details of the reopening measures, and it's available on the website on our show notes. If you click on the accessaa.co.uk article that we're providing this information from, you can see that guidance, which has been released. It's come as no surprise to everyone that it's a great sigh of relief, not just to consumers and festival goers and concert goers and live event fans, but also to promoters and folks that work on those events. They've been long awaiting this news. There has been a bit of blowback. I won't mislead you on that one. There has been a bit of blowback, but I think it's been relatively minimal, and those who are exercising common sense will be just fine with this rollout. As far as the government is concerned, we'll of course keep you updated on it as well. For now, back to you, Pete.
Right on. Thanks for that. Yeah, I mean, finally, good news. Finally, something to look forward to. It's been a rough first half of the year for everyone there. So, with this is also there's the 300-something million pounds that's being rolled out. Is that going through? Was that passed, or was that something that still needs to be signed off on?
My understanding is that it's going through and slowly trickling down, but because obviously they have a sort of firm date now and it's not as nebulous as it was weeks ago, some organizations are applying for it and others are trying to go ahead with whatever events they were planning either later or, using that funding to sort of sustain them until next year when they're able to host a lot of those events. It was the sort of not knowing when things would open that was keeping people from, pulling the trigger on those and actually going forward with some of those applications. I should also mention some breaking news I've just seen come over the wire as well, that it's been rumored that the Prime Minister is also going to make an announcement soon that the 16th of August will be the day going forward when those who are double jabbed in the UK and anyone under 18 no longer has to isolate if they've come in contact with someone, because I believe it's at the moment part of the rules that say that you have to isolate. But it says double jabbed, anyone double jabbed and who is, I believe, under 18. The isolation issue will not affect school bubbles and that going forward. So we'll have more information on that as it comes. But yes, good news indeed.
Right on. All right, thank you for that. Yeah, and unfortunately, we're going to move to some kind of bad news around Europe. Not so good news, but I do have to say I kind of like this chatting thing. I get to chat with Angela behind the scenes, like right on the website. So I see Dennis has joined the newsroom group on musicindustrycity.com. So great to see you. We're going to make this up. We're going to have a fun with this while we're doing the news. So we'd love to hear your thoughts as we go on. All right, with that being said, we are going to stay over in Europe, and this one is Spain. And saying Spain restricts nightlife as virus surges among the young. Spain's stringent vaccination rollout has so far focused on older, more vulnerable groups, keeping teenagers and those in their 20s unvaccinated until the summer. So far, 40% of Spain's 47 million people have been fully vaccinated, one of the highest rates in Europe, but this drops to 1 in 10 in the 20 to 29 age range and a pitiful 0.7% for those under 20. The 14-day contagion rate among individuals aged 20 to 29 was more than 3 times higher than the national average of 204 new cases per 100,000 residents on Monday. New infections have also spread among Spanish youths as a result of the school year-end travels and partying. Coronavirus infections are also on the rise in the northeast Catalonia, and authorities there have asked everyone over the age of 16 to get their virus injections following a 7-fold surge in illnesses in the last 2 weeks, with over 3,000 new confirmed cases in the last few days. A nightlife company owners federation issued a statement alleging that their industry is being exploited as a scapegoat for the recent outbreak of infections and urging authorities to crack down on illicit drinking parties instead. I know, Mike, if you're free to come on up, can you, I know you are there. Oh, Mike, thanks for checking in. I know you are over there and you sent me this article. Yeah, just say your name. You come on up. Can you fill us in a little bit more on what's happening?
Yeah, well, I'm over here, and I'm not just over here visiting. I've actually lived here most of my adult life, and now kind of split my time between here and New York. And so I've been out and talking to people who've been living through the pandemic here, and in their understanding, they said, "Oh yeah, things were completely open here. Life had returned to normal." But their version of normal was not as open as New York when I got here. People were still wearing masks on the street. Most people, not everyone. It's not required, but it's still recommended. So even outside on a hot summer day when you're not around, within 6 feet of anyone, people are still wearing masks on the street. I think the Delta virus is what has really spooked people here. They thought they were on a path to opening up. I think one of the mistakes that they made was, they knew that the summer holidays were coming up, and they also knew that they were going to have to increase the speed that they were giving the vaccinations, but they kind of loosened up the restrictions before they increased the pace of vaccinations, and I think that's where they tripped.
Yeah, that sounds like that sounds. Because we did it differently. I mean, it was like with an exception of a few states that just kind of did their own thing. But for the most part, it was about getting to a certain percentage of vaccinations then start opening up, laxing the restrictions.
Yeah.
What was flying in? You just recently got there. Was there anything? Did you have to take a test before you flew in? Was there any other requirements?
I had the New York vaccine passport already, and they required that for me to basically get the green light of being able to go through the airport without anything else. There was no required rapid test, no PCR test was required, just kind of the honor system, the proof of vaccination, and then the honor system that you haven't had any symptoms recently. On the plane in, or maybe it was at the airport in New York, I can't remember, they do require you to kind of fill out a Spanish version of the same thing, and you get a QR code when you're done with that. As long as you have the QR code at the airport upon arrival, they let you go through, just through normal passport control.
Right on. Thanks. Right. So what I'm going to Barcelona next week. What am I in for?
Good question. Right now, people are just being cautious, and life has continued. People are still definitely outdoor dining is wide open. People aren't wearing masks there, of course. I don't know if they're going to put a curfew on things or require restaurants to close down. I don't think so. I think they're just trying to speed up the vaccinations and kind of encouraging people to be very cautious.
Right on. I see Renee raised her hand and has come up to the stage. Renee, was there anything you wanted to add on this, the topic here? Because talking about Spain and the UK, one's opening up and one's closing down.
Hi, everybody. I just want to know why you're going. Just like for pleasure or for work?
A little bit of both.
That's so exciting. It's definitely on my bucket list to go to Spain. Are you just going to Barcelona or you're going elsewhere?
Well, I'm just going to Barcelona, but we're in the middle of the news. So if you want to talk about the news, I'd love to get back onto the topic here as we go through the show. So let's talk a little bit offline. All right. And with that being said, we
do want to quickly welcome Devin to the stage. Devin, do you have a 10-second comment for us before we move on to our next headline as we do the news today?
Hey, everybody. Thanks. I came in late and was hearing Mike talk about the entry, even though I know it's off topic. So I'll wait. Thanks.
All right. So we have a lot of international. Today is International Day. We're gonna brand this one International Day. All right. And this one is Russia. And this is still, goes back to Australia from a few months ago. This is the Russian festival was hit with a last-minute ban and loses millions. Wildmint, one of Russia's largest festivals, is said to be over 339,000 euros in debt after local authorities canceled the event at the last minute. The open-air festival is scheduled to take place in the Tula region, south of Moscow, between the 18th and 20th of June, but only 7 hours before the gates were set to open, local officials placed a ban on public gatherings due to a surge in COVID-19 infections. Andrei Klukin, the producer of the Wildmint event, stated in a Facebook post that the festival's postponement placed the team in, quote, complete despair. He claimed that the festival's deficit was over 47 million rubles as of July 2nd, but that 90% of this sum is in tickets. The Association of Concert Theater and Ticketing Organizations has branded the local government's last-minute prohibition unacceptable and is now seeking a federal regulatory mechanism to, quote, completely exclude the possibility of sudden cancellation of cultural events. Sticking with the International Live, 165 people who attended a Dutch nightclub have tested positive for COVID-19. A club in the Netherlands is at the center of a COVID-19 outbreak, with 165 of the 600 attendees testing positive. The Aspen Valley Club in Enschede, like other nightclubs and venues around the country, reopened for the first time on June 26, when the virus was suspected to have spread widely. Attendees were permitted to enter the club without the use of face masks or social distancing, but they were needed to demonstrate a negative lateral flow test before admission. According to local officials, the number of persons who may yet test positive for Aspen Valley could increase. And Angela, we were discussing this last week, talking about the tests, the pilot events, and if you were tested and you were negative and you got in, so you're testing to see if people with negative, with a negative reading would be able to spread coronavirus to other people with negative readings. Now they're saying that this one here, they said they had to show a negative lateral flow test before admission, and yet 165 people out of 600 caught it. So something's up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Andy who was actually looking into the details of the requirements for those tests in the UK. I don't know specifically about the ones abroad, like in Spain or in Russia in this case, or in the Netherlands, sorry, in this case. But as far as I understand it, a lot of this stuff was voluntary. I know the ones for the download pilot and a few of the others were voluntary. My friend who worked actually on the crew in the one in Liverpool told me that their bosses, the sort of crew chiefs, made it relatively mandatory for them to do all of the testing, but that the government actually, there wasn't any sort of requirement or follow up that was, there wasn't any specific, like you have to go to a certain testing facility or check in with someone or provide or show anything. My understanding of it was that they've asked you to do it and then you're meant to do it. I mean, beyond that, I don't have any real world experience with anyone actually who's attended any of those events who have had to provide or show or prove anything. In fact, a few people I knew who just returned from download actually did have to isolate because their app, their test and trace app, went off to alert them they'd been in contact with someone who tested positive. So they all had to isolate. There was maybe about 12 or 13 people I could think of in the group that had to isolate. But again, nobody followed up with them or asked them to provide any free future testing. It was just, hey, stay home. That's it. There was no further information. So it does seem as though it's merely a suggestion or recommendation, but not necessarily the kind of militaristic operation we would have.
Right on. All right. Thanks for the update. So let's go down to South America. The Brazilian trade group says it's taken down more than 65 stream manipulation services. Pro Musica Brazil, a Brazilian record industry trade group, has announced that it's collaborating with the country's anti-piracy body APDIF, a cybercrime policing unit, Cyber Geico, and the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry to combat stream manipulation has resulted in the shutdown of more than 65 such services. Although stream manipulation, in which firms manufacture false plays for tracks on streaming services, is a global concern, it has received significantly more attention in particular countries like Germany and Brazil. Last October, Pro Musica Brazil claimed that, as a result of its efforts, a number of stream manipulation service providers had shut down or had removed stream manipulation off their catalog of services. As a result of the subsequent action, more than 65 suppliers of such services have now gone offline. And we're going to head back up to talk about not stream manipulation, but stream ripping over in France. And this one is from Torrent Freak. And you can find these articles and all the links to all the headlines that we cover in today's news and throughout the week in our show notes at musicindustrycity.com. Just go to musicindustrycity.com and click on the show notes graphic, and you'll get access to all the headlines. Stream ripping can be perfectly legal, the French Ministry of Culture says. Copyright holders are sure that stream ripping services violate the law, yet legal uncertainty persists in the majority of the countries. In the United States, for example, a popular stream ripper, Yout.com, has filed a lawsuit against the RIAA in an attempt to get its service recognized as legal. In France, the Ministry of Culture was recently questioned about the subject of stream ripping. Philippe Latombe of the Modem Party asked the government if copies downloaded through these services are legal. The inquiry was part of a larger investigation of the rules and procedures governing private copying. These enable users to duplicate music and movies in exchange for a fee on storage media and gadgets such as blank CDs, hard disks, and cell phones. If streaming ripping is legal in response to the question, the Ministry of Culture stated that given the correct conditions, using stream ripping services to download music and other material is totally lawful. Goes on to say, stream ripping is legal and the resulting copy falls under the exception for private copying as provided by law. If several conditions are met, it must be made from a lawful source at the request of a user without being stored by the converter, and no circumvention of technical protection measures must be carried out. LimeWire? Is LimeWire going to be coming back in France? Is that where we're at again? Let's move along. Final couple articles here. Let's stay on some tech news. TikTok may be testing an in-house Cameo competitor called Shoutouts. According to screenshots shared by Fabian Auerhand, co-founder of Amsterdam-based TikToker management company Many, some TikTok makers can now provide commissioned videos. Creators who have access to the function known as TikTok Shoutouts can be identified by a small red button on their films. The button is located above their username and, when pressed, directs visitors to a separate website where they can order a shout-out. TikTok explains the fundamental method on the order page. At first, a user submits an official request for a video to the creator along with the payment. And according to the order page, once a creator accepts the shout-out request, they have approximately a week to transmit the finished footage to the commissioner. Users receive a completed video via direct messaging. And if the screenshots are correct, and TikTok does intend to compete with Cameo and other custom video platforms, the move would make sense. And that's going to wrap up the tech, except for our favorite time of the news, and that is...
Big green dot hits the spot. It is time for the big green dot that hits the spot. This is the Spotify Spot, the portion of our program where we look at digital streaming technology and music. But before we do that, we want to give you a quick weather update for our listeners and viewers around the globe. The weather update for today is that the weather is just about perfect for rocking your summer wardrobe, including that raspberry beret that you may have found at a secondhand store. Over to you, Peter.
Right on. All right. So let's go over. This is Spotify. Will teach you everything you need to be a podcastera. Podcastera. I'm not going to pronounce that right. I'm just putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. So this one is from entrepreneur.com, and it says that, the signs are clear. The social audio trend is here to stay. Given this, Spotify announced the launch of SoundUp in Mexico, a project created to train the next generation of podcasters through training, workshops, and full support. SoundUp seeks to create a training space and amplify the voices of new female talents from all corners of the country who do not have the elements to launch as podcasters. For this, the program invites young Mexican women between the ages of 18 and 27 who do not have the knowledge to practice the tools or the connections to execute the stories and ideas. So from June 28th to July 16th, those interested can apply. A committee of Spotify experts will choose a set of participants for the virtual training program, focusing on the development of podcast production techniques. Mexico's Next Generation of Podcasters program will be split into two parts. To be part of the program, you do not need any prior podcasting experience. All you need is a concept and a desire to develop it via podcasts. SoundUp has gotten a lot of attention from people all across the world, with over 1,000 submissions in previous 3 years. And as a result, more than 60 people in Brazil, the United Kingdom, Australia, the United States, and Germany have finished the program. Right on. Good help support women, support, Spotify, I'm going to say it again. Spotify gets a bad rap for a lot of things, but also Spotify, I feel, does a lot of wonderful things. So with that being said, we are done with the news reads. If anybody has some comments, want to add some commentary about any of today's topics, feel free to raise your hand and join the conversation. If not, we are, and also say hi for the people at Music Industry City that are in the newsroom chat room. We're testing that out as beta, so check it out. And also hi everybody over in Green Room. What's going on? We're going to do the after show party in Green Room. And once we wrap up this here in the next few minutes, and also just want to say another shout out to everybody that's in our video live stream. What's up? Good to hear from you all. So if nobody has any additional thoughts, Angela, did you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the Roblox, sorry, brain just froze. The Roblox innovation that they're looking forward to is quite exciting. My son, in fact, is playing Roblox as we speak, and I think it will be a really good bridge for generations if they're able to do some kind of live music events there going forward en masse, because it would bring a lot of people to the gaming experience that aren't already to check out the music, and vice versa. People who are very immersed in the gaming experience. Sometimes my stepson, who is 12, he plays the games but isn't as much into music as I was at his age. So hopefully it'll open up a whole new generation of music fans who are able to check it out in their gaming experience. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for that.
All right, on Eli, any final thoughts?
I'm just, I'm always interested to find out news from the live sector. So I just want to say a quick thank you, Peter, for the programming that you include that deals with live music. That's something that I'm just salivating to have come back safely all over the world, and for everybody who misses live music as much as I do. And I know this, a lot of our viewers and listeners have chimed in and let us know how much they miss live music as well. So thank you so much for including that in the headlines that we cover. That's something that means a lot to me. If you're like me and you want to hear more news that pertains to all of us here in the music industry, you can join us here at the Music News Power Hour each and every weekday, Monday through Friday at noon Eastern. That's 12 p.m. Eastern, where we cover all the music news from around the globe that's fit to listen to and discuss. You can always join our discussion. You can also watch us on our video stream if you'd like to see what's happening behind the scenes. You can check us out to join our video live stream, to follow along with our headlines as we read them, and to find out more information, or to register for free for more exciting content through Music Industry City. All of that and more at our website. That is musicindustrycity.com. For our UK correspondent, Angela Randall, and for my co-host, Peter Schwing, I want to say thank you so much. My name is Eli Window, and we hope to see you again for more Music News Power Hour at 12 Eastern weekdays. And for now, we are moving to the after party in Green Room. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you again soon. Over
Right
here.
on. Thank you, Eli. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. And for those who are checking out the new chat functionality on musicindustrycity.com in the newsroom feed and the group. And so you can also post if you are a resident of musicindustrycity.com, and that means you just sign up for free. You can join. You'll be automatically placed into the public square, and that's our forum. That's just a thread, a feed, and also another group, which is the newsroom. So you can post topics, you can chat amongst yourself. So we're testing these out. So I'd love to hear your feedback. We'll call it beta testing, and but it's going to be really a great way for everybody to connect and converse about what's happening in the news and share some stories and everything. So with that being said, we're going to start wrapping up and heading over to Green Room. And also remember that you can find Music Industry Cities on your favorite podcast player. That is and you can check out the Daily Brief. It rolls out about 8 in the morning Eastern time, and it's about 2 to 3 minutes of news updates, and that cover more musical chairs, new releases, and tours, other things that we might not necessarily cover in here. So check that out, and we always appreciate your feedback. With that being said, thank you, everybody. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you over in the Green Room in just a moment. Cheers.
Cheerio, everyone. We hope you have a great day, and we will see you here tomorrow at 12 Eastern for more music news that you care to use. Have a wonderful Tuesday.